Welcome to Hostile Estate from good old New Jersey and Detroit, Michigan. I'm one of your hosts, Isaac Gilman.
And I'm your other host, Ed Hendrickson.
Ed, you've spent basically your first full week in January going back into an office. How's that been?
Good. Everything is good. I'm excited. We're getting a lot of stuff done. We're working well together. We're training our processor. She's doing great. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's definitely tiring though. Like it's a lot more energy is being deployed on a daily basis.
Are you still going into like wherever you're? I think there is an actual office. Like, are you going in there regularly?
Yeah, I'm going every single day.
Okay.
Just working. I mean, I'm working full days.
Like 9 to 5 full days, or are you okay?
I mean, 9 to 5, and then I come home and I leave at 5. I pick Kevin up. I come home, do some family time and go back and do get on my computer and do work.
So you've been doing that for like a week now?
Yeah.
How's that transition coming? Because you could go to the office whenever you kind of wanted. And I'm not meaning work from home. I mean, culture estate.
I mean, it's tough. Well, yeah, because the part that's tiring to me is not just going to the office. I mean, going to the office doesn't tire me out. It's going to the office and we're grinding. There's more business. There's more stuff going on. That's mentally tougher, not so much time. I mean, I could be doing it at home. I would be just as tired. It might be harder at home because I'm not in front of other people. Being in front of people help keep the wheel going. It would probably be harder at home because it would be harder to stay in communication. I think it's possible to eventually do it like that, but we just got to get on the same page and everybody get into their process, get into their lane, know their task, and we can go from there.
Let me ask this question. I had this thought about your processor the other day, because it sounds to me very similar to what like my company essentially does. Like they process title work, right?
Yep.
Among other things, and it's very. I guess it's like very. It's kind of like a checklist or a task, right? So we get an order in, and when that order enters our system. Or let's say it doesn't even enter the system. Let's just say we receive an order. There's like these 5 things you have to do. You have to check this information. You need to call the borrower. You need to, set up time with a vendor. You need to do another thing, and you need to like send it then to the lender. I don't know.
Right.
Is it kind of like that where it's very like checklisty? Like this processor needs to do like 5 things before they can move on to the next order or like the next section, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, ideally what they would do is, as a broker, we're working with multiple different lenders. So I would say, okay, here's the address, here's the borrower, we're sending them to lender A. They would know what lender A's requirements are, and they'll liaise with the borrower to get the requirements and then take those requirements and pass them off to the lender. And then, the lender will probably have, at that point, I would imagine, perfect world, I'm taking a step back. I'm reading the emails and making sure things are progressing. The lender will probably come back and say, hey, we have a question about this or this. The processor would then reach out to the borrower and try to resolve it, or maybe come back to me to see if I need to step in if it's not a very simple.
Like for more expertise, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I might step into the lender and see if I can make something happen.
Does this processor use any sort of software to like manage the process at all?
So we do have a CRM, Salesforce.
Okay.
It's just right now, it's great, but it can be better.
Sure.
So we're trying to figure out ways to make it better, make the process more automated.
What is it? What do you use the CRM? Like, can you give me an example of like how the CRM operates? Because how I understand a CRM, and to be honest, haven't used one in a very long time, and I don't use it on a regular. Even when I did kind of use it, it was very basic, but it was primarily to gather contact information from like gathering leads at a conference, and then just like essentially setting notifications to say follow up with this person based on some notes you have in there at like X date. Like it was very, very basic.
It is not. This is not very basic.
Okay.
There's basic parts to it, and then not. So basically what it is, imagine that there is what we would consider an opportunity. An opportunity is going to be the address, and then there's a borrower within that, or like we would, I guess, like what we consider it is like an account, like the account name, right, will be the person. They're like the borrower within it. So what our CRM does is what we do is we create an opportunity. Within the opportunity, we put all that detailed information, such as, do they have a contract? Is their title? Is there an appraisal ordered? There's checklists for that. Purchase price, construction, after repair value, total loan. Is there a referral? What are we charging? There's all the stuff that we would ever need to know on there. So you would create an opportunity as the first step. And there's different stages the opportunity goes into. So it's either we have like a coming soon. So this is just like maybe the deal is there, but we don't have that much information. And then we have submitted. Like submitted would mean that the way I look at it is submitted is like we're ready to roll with this. The processor is working. Processing means it's like in with the other lender, like with the lender. And then we have a clear to close. So we'll move it to that. And then we have a closed section. So it kind of moves down the path.
Yeah.
And as it's going down the path within each opportunity, there are things that we can, we can update. So we have tasks in there. So like you got to order an appraisal, and we want to, like, we have the CRM notify us every 2 days as to like basically, so you touch the file every 2 days. This keeps us organized and keeps us on task. And that's a big thing, is making sure that the CRM is actually updated now. So that way it can be very automated and very, theoretically our processor shouldn't really have to ask us much. We just say, not our process. We don't have to ask each other too much. You can go in the CRM and find out, where is this file? And you know exactly where it is. There should be notes, there should be stages, all of that.
It's very workflow driven.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's very similar to like what we work with.
And then it's just, whose responsibility is it to update it? Is it mine? Is it yours?
Right.
Where are we at? At what point am I putting stuff in to move it on, or am I just sending you an email? So we're just kind of figuring all that stuff out because we want to keep everything in the CRM.
If you had like one thing to fix, what would it be?
In the CRM, you're saying, or just generally with our process?
And you're generally in your process, but it could be related to CRM or not.
Finding out some sort of way to synchronize everything, that when you create a file and you create a folder at the same time, so it just is streamline it more, is make sure it's streamlined. Because like I'm at fault personally of what I do is I'm on the phone, I have a deal, I'm just taking notes in my notebook. And then I say to myself, okay, who can this go to? Okay, this can go to lender B. Then I'll email that borrower and say, these are the requirements I need in order to get this deal in front of lender B. Like I haven't even created a CRM file at this point. Like notes are my piece, my notes are in my notebook. And for me, converting from a notebook to a CRM is a process. But all of us take notes. Like, when we look in our room, like we all have notes. When it's on the phone, it's easy to take notes, but to make sure it gets into the CRM, the details are in there. So I can now say to you, hey, I was talking to Isaac. He's looking at this deal, and just check it out, like 123 Main Street. And then they go in and say, oh, okay, this is what you talked about.
Okay.
But sometimes there's not enough time, and this isn't a good excuse. It's just there isn't the time, and then you go on to the next deal, or you're going to follow up with something else. Somebody calls you. The day moves without, no matter what.
Yeah. Just don't answer your phone. Just change your phone number.
I wish. I actually don't wish. It's a good thing. Like if my phone's ringing, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
No, I'm just, people are like, oh, my phone keeps ringing. Not in our office, but like that's a good thing if the phone
means business
is ringing.
That's cool.
So.
You want to wrap it up?
Sure. Thank you, everybody, for listening today. Check us out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or iTunes. If you want to send us an email, please email us at hustleestate1, that's the number 1, @gmail.com. And our social media, we are on Twitter and Instagram @hustleestate. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.